Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome to your second video in this course where we discuss investor pitch deck. Now what's happening is that in the past video we saw two types of pitch decks. The way you are going to structure your PowerPoint, we saw two types. Here is the first one and here is the second one. So you choose which format, and like I said in the last video, sometimes the investor is the one that will send you the format. Okay, they will just email you or they'll put it on their platform, you download it, and then you structure your design to be like that. So here are some suggestions. All right, like I said, this is what you're going to do before you reach out to the investor. So here are some suggestions on how to prepare this PowerPoint slide. The first thing is that your slide should be between 10 to 30 slides. Anything less than 10 slides is too small. It's kind of too small. It's not bad, okay, but it's too small. Like, you don't want to leave the investors asking more questions like, okay, what, you know? So then 30 slides is fairly okay, but you're already pushing it. So I advise you have like 2 to 3 slides. The first one is 10, that summarizes everything. 10 slides, that's the first contact you are sending to the investor in the email, you know. And then when they pick interest and they reply, they will usually ask for more details, and that's what you have in your 20 slides. So the slide that have 20 has the first 10 plus extra details in between. Usually those details will be what the investor asks for, and then when they meet you physically and after some meetings, that's when you send them the 30 slide long where they have all the tiny little details. Okay, before they finally hand you over the money, their business team will connect with you and they'll be like, okay, what this, that. Okay, so like I said, there are samples for all this. Now also, the length of the slide depends on the time they gave you for presentation. Sometimes investors will hold like a seminar where there are about 10, 15, even 100 people asking for money. How many of you have watched Shark Tank? Okay, our Dragons Den and so on. What you notice is that the time that you are given to present your idea will determine how many PowerPoint slides you're going to have. Now you should also know that some investors don't care about PowerPoint, like the Shark Tank and the Dragon. They don't use PowerPoint. You have to tell them directly. But what you're telling them is what is in this course, in this PowerPoint. Alright, that's what you're verbally telling them. So if they give you 2 minutes to present, alright, that means they have a lot of people presenting that day. That means your slide should be 5 slides, because before you flip through 5 slides, 2 minutes is gone. Okay, I'll give you what will be in those 5 slides. Then if they give you 5 minutes, you prepare 10 slides. If they give you 10 minutes, you prepare 15 slides. But if they give you 15 to 20 minutes each to present, that means they are prepared to ask you questions. They are really serious. They are prepared to ask you questions. So you prepare about 20 to 30 slides, 25 to 30 slides. That's what is going to occupy that 20 minutes. If you prepare too little slides, what's going to happen is that they will, you will finish too quickly, and then there will be a lot of space. They will use questions and destroy you. You get what I'm saying? So you want to, if they gave you 30 minutes, you want to finish somewhere around 28 minutes so that they will have 2 minutes to ask you questions. Now the next thing is, you have only 1 to 5 bullets per slide. Don't copy full notebook. Don't write full article in each slide. It's called a PowerPoint for a reason. So basically, the title of the slide, then 1, 2, 3 points. If you have more than 5 points, 5 bullet points, you are pushing it. Okay. So highest you have is 5 bullet points. This is that. That is that. That is that. That is that. Period. Okay. Now have only 1 to 5 bullets. Okay. Use big images. So sometimes in a slide, you want to show an image of the product or something. Don't show something that is tiny that they will start squeezing their eyes to see. If you're going to have an image in a slide, I'll tell you the slides that should have images, right, as we go ahead. But if you're going to have an image in a slide, make sure that the image is big. A title that explains what the image is about, then you have the image. If there's any particular point of interest in that image, you circle it, okay, with like red color or something. There are tools for doing it on phone and on system. Just draw a circle around it so that once the image shows, investors know what to look out for while you're talking to them to present. You also need to know that many times that investors are going through your slide, you are not there to explain. Okay, so don't put in things that will be difficult for them to understand when you're not there to explain it. Okay, so put very simple self-explanatory items. Now another one is don't use exaggerations, don't show both, don't brag or sound arrogant. Okay, instead show a good presentation. If your presentation is good, it's already enough boasting for you. All right. If you sound arrogant, nobody wants to work with an arrogant person. If you sound that I'm the smartest person in the world and I came up with this so smart, unique idea, and then I just need your money. If you don't want to give me money, then you can go. You know, if you pass that kind of message, nobody wants to give you money. All right, you're going to lose the money they want to invest and their expertise. Remember in the other course, I thought about something called smart money. That is people that are investing in you financially, but also they have connections in the industry. They have domain knowledge that they can also invest in the business. This is something you can't measure, how much knowledge they pass to you. So if I was building something about space mission, for instance, and then Elon Musk decides to come and invest in me, he's not just bringing money, he's bringing what? Smart money, which means this guy has a lot of domain knowledge in the whole space industry. So me collecting his money is a blessing, because he's going to also bring his knowledge in. All right, his connection with the industry, his connection with SpaceX, his connection with NASA, the US government, all these things are coming in if he can invest in my small product that has to do with space missions. So sometimes, even though they are harsh, or maybe their investment conditions are not perfect for you, maybe there's another better offer somewhere. You also look at the smart money. They might be bringing huge smart money to you. Okay, so just even when you're presenting, all right, just don't show both. There are some presentations that you don't need to dress in suits. You show up and you're all suited up, they feel bad about you, you know, depending on the context. In some context, you just need to dress smart casual. That's how most billionaires dress, smart casual, and then everybody's good. Or you just put on a suit or a coat. So just know the environment before you go. The next thing you need to check is make sure your slide is self-explanatory. I just explained that. Must be self-explanatory. So after preparing your slide, forward it to a friend and tell the friend, let me know what you think. Any question they ask, you know, redesign the slide to already answer that question. Any question they ask, redesign it. Okay? Alright. Some people may email it to friends, like I said. Okay, now don't just read your slide to the audience. Give a brief explanation of each item. If it's about reading it, your audience can read it. Probably if you're pitching at an event or a number of investors, sometimes if you're pitching to a VC firm is a company whose way of making money is to invest in other companies. So if you're pitching to such a VC firm, you will not be talking to one person. They're talking to about 5 to 10, 15 different experts that have been investing for years. You know the way Shark Tank is. Okay? So it's not when you have your presentation on the screen, you're just reading it. You make sure that you're communicating with them. Each slide, make sure you give in extra few information that explains better what is on the slide. Okay? Make sure you proofread your slide. Then ask some friends to help you proofread it. You get what I'm saying? When you're proofreading it, you're making sure that there are no typographic errors. If you can present your slide and put typographic errors there are some spelling mistakes, instantly the investors don't want to put their money there. If this person can't even prepare a 15-point slide, they're going to make a business blunder when we give them our millions. Alright? So, no calculation errors, no inconsistencies. Sometimes you're trying to calculate that this year we're going to make 40% extra growth, and then that 40% extra growth does not tally with the money that you are expecting as growth. Maybe the money you are expecting is actually representing 20% extra growth, and your slide is saying 40%. Don't do that. Make sure your calculations are perfect. That's why you need to send to a friend. Rehearse your presentation in front of a few people. If you are the type of person that usually get tensed up, if you get tensed up when speaking to people, make sure that you have rehashed. That tension can cost you millions, okay? Make sure you're confident, very confident, and you're well rehearsed before you speak to your actual investors. Be consistent with your fonts. Don't use 12 pixels here, and then in the next slide you use 50 pixels, then in the next slide you use 13 pixels. No. Just have a title that is a certain amount of pixels, okay? So let's say your title might be the actual suggestion I have here is the font type you should use is Calibri or Arial. Calibri or Arial, because these two are very easy to read. Anybody can read Calibri or Arial. Don't use Times New Roman because of some of the curvy text there. Okay, don't try to over design. Simple, clean slide. Okay, and your font size should be 20 pixels or larger. 20 pixels or larger. So basically, what the advice here is, you calculate the average age of the audience, the people in your audience, their average age, then divide it by 2. That should be your font size, because people's eyes get worse as they grow older. So if the average age of people in your audience is 10 years, okay, your font size can be 10 pixels. That means they can see it, their eyes are still working well. But let's say you're talking to investors that are around 40 years on the average. That means some people are above 40, some people are below, but on the average, you said you can guess that their average age is 40. That means your font size should be 20 pixels each. Okay, add page numbers in your slides, because when you're presenting your slides, most investors don't want to interrupt you. They just keep quiet for you to complete your slide presentation, and then they'll start asking you questions based on specific slides. Now, if you have page numbers, they will just scribble down the page number so that when it's time to ask you a question, they can tell you, can you go back to page X? All right, and then they'll ask you more specific questions there. Okay, now before I round up this, I have one more point here. I said use dark background with white fonts. They are better with projectors. Sometimes the projector, the room is well lighted, so if you're using a white background like my slide now, it's gonna be difficult for people in the audience to see. So what you are advised to do is use a dark background with white fonts. Okay, any dark background with white, it's easy to see under any projector. Now here are some questions. We'll have one question here or two from Mr. Samuel. Samuel says, I'm a gold miner. I need investors. I'm a Ghanaian Nigerian. I'm in Osun State, Ilesha, and I have done lots of prospecting showing that there is gold in the ground, but I need investors and equipment. Now the answer there is that just go get my sheet, where the spreadsheet where I have over 500 contacts of investors. Some of these, the first sheet has Nigerian investors, people that have put money in Nigeria. The second sheet has global investors that are putting money in Nigerian and African businesses. And it also has examples of businesses they have put in money. It has examples of the industries. So if you get that sheet, you look for where the mining industry is. You see the investors under mining industry, and then you reach out to them. Okay, their contacts are there. All right. So the last question I'm taking here from Vincent. Vincent said, this course, is it for business people alone? No, it depends on what you mean by business. If you're getting investors for your company, isn't that your company is a business? Okay, there is no specific business thing there. This is for people who have a product or an idea that want to be given a lot of money to be able to push that idea globally. Okay. So see you in the next slide. Feel free to drop more questions, those of you that are watching live, so that I can answer them.